Justin Fields has a huge cult, man. I never knew that Justin Fields had this big of a fan base until the whole trade talk started to come along. And now that we are now starting to see more teams figure out their quarterback situations, there's not a lot of landing spots for Justin Fields to go where he has the opportunity to start next season, unless you're the Denver Broncos or the New England Patriots. And Sean Payton, after the Broncos came back and beat the Bears last season when Justin Fields had his best game of the season, Sean Payton after the game said, yeah, Justin Fields, we had him right where we want him, throwing the ball from inside the pocket. And what happened? He had a fumble and an interception, and the Broncos end up losing the game. And a lot of NFL fans' perception about Justin Fields is a lot different from how the actual league views Justin Fields. If Justin Fields was as good as what many Bears fans or his fans believe that he is, he would have already been traded by now. Because a guy who's supposed to be good shouldn't take this long to get traded. And the NFL, it's like the stock market. If a stock's going down, there's a reason why it's going down. The NFL is telling you what Justin Fields is. And that is, he's a decent quarterback. He's not good enough to really win you a lot of games or potentially even win you a Super Bowl. So for you, Artie, how do you feel about Justin Fields as far as his potential to be a starter next season? Because it really looks pretty slim.
Logistically, I don't feel good about it, but JT, I think that's a little bit unfair to Justin. I believe that he did not have the red carpet laid out for him in Chicago. I remember when he was drafted and Andy Dalton was signed in free agency that year, and Andy Dalton came out and said, in a question asked about Justin Fields, he was like, I'm the starting quarterback. So he didn't have, a quarterback to learn from in the room. He didn't really have good coaching. In that first year, as his first full year as a starter, he had no talent. Like, the play calling was bad. The play calling was bad at the beginning of this year, too, even after they got DJ Moore for him. But, hey, say what you want about you can't win you a Super Bowl. Honestly, he's still developing, one. And two, when he came back from his broken hand, Justin Fields, metrics-wise, was playing at a top 10 quarterback level. Like, he was really good post-injury this season. And I think it's a small sample size, but I think Justin Fields is more like those 7 games than the previous 14 or whatever it was, because you finally got to see Justin Fields with legitimate NFL play calling and a legitimate, wide receiver one. It's so hard to evaluate, any quarterback without a true, wide receiver one or just weapons. But it's extremely hard to evaluate a young quarterback who's still learning how to process NFL defenses, who's still learning, the speed of edge rushers coming off, the edge, who's learning, how, I can't throw that timing route right there. That cornerback's going to jump that route. While they don't have the adequate talent to properly do those things.
What about CJ Stroud? What's the difference between him and CJ Stroud?
So CJ Stroud's better than Justin Fields.
In one season? But Justin Fields has been playing 3 years though. Why is that?
What I'm saying is that CJ Stroud coming out for me, because Justin Fields is in that range of quarterbacks I've evaluated. CJ Stroud had a higher grade for me than Justin Fields. Like, I had Justin Fields as quarterback 2 in that class, but it was a sizable gap between him and Trevor. I thought CJ and Bryce were like that, like 1A, 1B. So I believe that, CJ Stroud was more pro ready. And then again, it all goes back to situation. CJ Stroud was in a great situation in Houston. Like, his play caller was outstanding for him. I mean, yes, he didn't have, I guess the most ideal weapons or whatever, but he still had the weapons that were able to produce for him. And beyond that, he made the most of those weapons. He elevated that talent.
So why couldn't Justin Fields have done better?
because Justin Fields again development was stunted. When you're trying to develop, and your development is stunted, and the only time you actually have all three at once, good play, good to solid play calling, an actual legitimate wide receiver that can win on the outside, and then you're also confident in your ability to throw the football. When it all comes together, that's when you can fairly evaluate him. And I feel like the only time Justin Fields has ever had that is for 7 games. Now, I say all that to say that Justin Fields' trade market is the way it is because people are just unsure. They're not sure on what he can potentially be. I made a whole thing last year on our channel saying help the bear, help Justin Fields, give him talent. They gave him talent, and through 7 games, like I've said, he did the best with it that he could. But time's up. They did what they had to do with the whole Bryce Young trade. They got DJ Moore back, a valuable asset. They just got Keenan Allen from the Chargers for essentially nothing. So, and they've been, adding players on defense. They got Montez Sweat at the trade deadline. They re-signed Jalen Jackson. They bringing in Devondre Swift in free agency. So from the Bears, it's like you have a chance with this current roster to really compete now. So are you that much invested in Justin Fields' development in year going into year 4, or you're just gonna take literally the best quarterback prospect to come out since like Burrow, Luck, like that's what the Bears are at, and I would lean taking Caleb Williams. Like there's no scenario in my opinion, because this is all opinion and objective based. There's no scenario in my opinion where if you asked that team as currently constructed 5-year window, which quarterback gives you the best chance to win a Super Bowl, that the answer is not Caleb Williams if it's between Caleb Williams and Justin Fields. Because again, Justin Fields is still developing. Now, when you draft Caleb Williams, obviously he has to develop, but Caleb Williams' floor is even above what Justin Fields is at right now. So that's where I'm at with the whole Chicago situation. And quickly, just one last point about the whole trading him thing. I think again it goes back to, you know, the league sees things differently than, media does basically. Yes. But also trades are a lot harder than they appear. It's not just as simple as, okay, we want Justin Fields, we're just going to give you this pick and this player. No, there are some teams that want to finesse.
Does it piss you off how much you pay for your monthly phone bill? Why are you getting frustrated when our partner Mint Mobile has plans as low as $15 a month that give you unlimited talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network? Stop getting frustrated with how much you spend on your monthly phone bill and go to trymintmobile.com/JT Sports and description and pin comment down below to get access to premium wireless for only $15 a month. That's only $15 a month. Switching to Mint is easy. It only takes 15 minutes to do. If you're pissed off with how much you pay for your monthly phone bill, switch to Mint Mobile today and go to trymintmobile.com/JT Sports in description and pin comment down below to get premium wireless for only $15 a month. Stop getting upset with how much you spend on your monthly phone bill and switch to Mint Mobile today.
There are some teams that are super cheap. There are some teams that are like, they'll have an offer 1 minute and the next minute they'll change it, like, and they'll ask for their price or lower their price, or they'll have a high value of a player and then they'll lower it just to get a deal done. So there's a lot more that goes in the NFL trades than is said, when Ian Rappaport makes that tweet. But overall, I think when it comes to Justin Fields, whatever happens with him, I do think he will develop into a starting level quarterback. I just wonder if he'll ever get to that, ceiling that he had coming out in 2021. Because if he does, then he could be potentially, a top 10 quarterback one day. But that's something that it would take, immense work and, immense investment from our team right now to do so.
And when you look at his options outside of New England, it doesn't really look promising because, Sean Payton, I do believe Sean Payton should take the risk because you're not going to be good anyway. So, it's like, if you're not going to be that good, you might as well just go ahead and try to get Justin Fields in there and see if you can strike iron because what do you got to lose? You feel me? And yeah, you are in cap hell because of the Russell Wilson situation, but it's like you won with a Justin Fields kind of QB before with Taysom Hill. You've designed the offense around Taysom Hill's athleticism. And Justin Fields is a better athlete than Taysom Hill, and I think he's a better overall quarterback than Taysom Hill. So I don't get why Denver wouldn't be in the market. Maybe they could be calling around, but New England, there's a rumor saying that New England really wanted Calvin Ridley, but they didn't get him. And with them not being able to get him, they don't feel comfortable enough maybe taking a QB at 3. So therefore, maybe they either trade down, get more assets, or you take a wide receiver like Marvin Harrison Jr. or Malik Neighbors at 3, and then you give that call to Chicago. Hey, we'll give you a 4th or 5th for Justin Fields. You see what Justin Fields can do for a year because he's playing on his 5th-year option. You're going to have to pick that up. You pick up the 5th-year option. If it works out, you re-sign him. You got your long-term answer at QB. You can continue to build around him. But if he doesn't work out, I mean, it's still a win-win scenario because you're bad enough where you could end up landing Shedeur next season. And same thing with the Denver Broncos. Like, I believe if you're the Denver Broncos, you should already be tanking for Shedeur due to your situation. But if you get Justin Fields, maybe you can kick the ball around with him and have a little bit of fun. If you're going to be bad, you might as well have some fun, watching Justin Fields go crazy, have a couple of 200-yard performances, have a couple of big throws here and there. But to me, I do believe that we will see Justin Fields starting next year. I will have a hard time seeing him not being a starter. But I believe that at best, he'll have a few Pro Bowl worthy seasons, maybe a few seasons he'll take a team to the playoffs. I believe he's going to be a way better version of Vince Young. He's going to have, it's just that he'll have a decent career where he'll start for 3-4 teams, you feel me, get re-upped a few times. But I don't really see him as a QB that's going to lead you to a championship. And my whole big issue is that everybody keeps saying he needs more, but CJ Stroud was already better than him with less, even though he did have, better coaching, but the best quarterbacks are able to make up for some kind of limitation. And he's the worst fourth quarter quarterback in the NFL since 2021. You go back and you look at the games he played well in, they were all against teams that weren't that good. But when you look at what he did against teams that had good defenses or what playoff teams like the Packers, you lost twice. You lost to the Buccaneers. Hell, your best game against the Broncos, you balled out, but yet you still gave the game away in the fourth quarter. You had a fumble and an interception. Against the Cleveland Browns, the defense carried that game. Where were you? You could even outplay Joe Flacco. So my thing for Justin Fields is the thing that's holding him back is the fact that he's not better in the fourth quarter. And you listen to everybody in Chicago's organization, what do they want out of their quarterback? They all keep emphasizing fourth quarter play. So if I'm a team like New England and I trade for Justin Fields, I'm sitting him down. I'm saying, hey, bro, like, what's up with you in the fourth quarter, fam? Like, are you somebody who I can count on 2 minutes left in the game to lead me downfield to get the win? Are you that dude? Do you ever believe that Justin Fields can overcome his fourth quarter issues? Like, what's wrong with him in the fourth quarter?
Again, like I said, he's still developing. Like, I can't overstate how bad his situation was. When you're in the fourth quarter and the only thing you've ever known is having to run for your life and then throw to Darnell Mooney, like, sorry, like, what is he supposed to do? Respectfully, like, what is he supposed to do? He's never had, until this year, a weapon to rely on in the fourth quarter. Like, Cole Kmet got extended, but Cole Kmet took a massive jump back half of last year, 2022. Like, it's in my opinion, the whole fourth quarter discourse is just really unfair because some of the best quarterbacks in the fourth quarter in the league have been are in those situations consistently, but also either have the immense talent to overcome the lack of talent or whatever, or B have been in the league long enough to understand what is needed in that situation. And Justin Fields has had neither of those things for the majority of his career. So, in my opinion, his fourth quarter issue is null and void because he's still developing quarterback.
So at this point, what would you think the Bears would get in return for him realistically? Because at first it was reported they could get a second rounder, but now that seems like a little bit too high. I don't think they'll give him away for a sixth or a seventh. You, fifth, fourth, third.
I think they can still get a second for him. I think it's all about they're stressing if they trade him they're going to do right by him. But I also think they want to do right by themselves. They don't want to just give him away. You know what I'm saying? Like, it goes back to what I said earlier about how trades are weird. Like, you have some teams that are literally trying to finesse teams. Like that Atlanta trade with Arizona, straight finesse. Like, there's no way on God's green earth you should be able to get a quarterback of the quality of Desmond Ritter in exchange for a receiver and the quality of Rondell Moore. That's disgusting. So it's just about finding the right trade partner who you guys have good rapport with or whatever. You guys have good negotiations and all of that. But I think they'll be able to get a second round for him. I'm not the trade guy. Like, I don't know how trade charts and stuff work. But I think if they were able to get like a second this year and maybe a third next year and a conditional fourth or fifth, I think that would be good value for Justin. Because at the end of the day, you are selling potential goods. You're not selling damaged goods or borrowed goods. You're selling potential goods. So you're still selling him based on the fact that he's still a young quarterback, he's still developing, and he still can potentially be, a top 10 level quarterback if he reaches his ceiling. So with that comes also teams that are going to try to lowball. They're going to try to say, oh, he hasn't developed yet, so we'll give you a fifth. And then you have some teams that might say, hey, we'll give you a third. But I think overall, the best possible value they can get is probably a second round pick for him.
And where does Justin Fields need to improve to really solidify himself as a a solid starting caliber QB in the league? What are his weaknesses?
Yeah, so he definitely needs to improve his pocket presence. It's a big problem. You saw it in the Tampa Bay game last year. There were times where he just held the ball just too long. He would, pause in his dropbacks, and his pocket presence, his pocket mechanics have got to get better. I also believe he at times now he did better with it this year for sure. But last year, like the year before 2022, he was so quick to get off of his reads. Like, one is not there, two's not there, I'm taking off. This year he was better at it, but again, like I said, via the Tampa Bay game example, he was going through his lead reads too slow. So he just needs to find a happy medium of going through my reads, feeling the pressure, and knowing, okay, it's time. It's starting seven. I got to get eight. It's time for me to get out of here and make a play and be a playmaker. So it's just finding a balance in that. Also, too, would like to see him improve his touch on the deep ball. It's not that he can't throw the deep ball. It's just there's sometimes where his accuracy and touch kind of unravels when he throws the ball downfield. And one more thing would be just play more loose. It seems like it takes him a little longer to settle into football games. Like, most quarterbacks, by drive three, they're settled in. Like, I'm a Cowboys fan, so I know by the time Dak Prescott gets to like his eighth throw, like he's pretty settled in. Eight to 10 throws, he's settled in. Justin Fields might not be settled into the third quarter. Like, that's why I'm so big on that he's still developing, because I'm still seeing him make like the rookie or second year player type mistakes. And again, it's not really his fault, but at the same time, you can only go off what you see in the current situation. So those are just a couple of things that Justin Fields, in my opinion, needs to work on uh, to develop into that starting quarterback I know he can be.
One last thing is, where do you predict Justin Fields plays at for the 2024 season? I believe he's a Patriot.
It's gonna be funny because of the team you like, but I actually think he's gonna be a Steeler, bro.
I hope he's a Steeler, but my thing with the Steelers is that, are they going to be willing to want to pick up that 5th-year option? Because it does seem like they have committed to Russell Wilson being a starter. Are they actually going to hold true to their word and actually have a legit quarterback battle? Because you don't have Mason, you don't have Kenny. It's like, you might as well go kick the tires on him. And you only signed Russell Wilson to a $1.12 million deal. So if he loses out to Justin Fields, you can cut this dude easily. And me as a Steeler fan, listen, I'm not a Justin Fields hater. The dude is on the cover of my cover art for a reason. You feel me? I do have a lot of love for him. I just have started to like him a lot less because the cult that he has, nobody seems to want to hold him accountable. You feel me? They act like he's the perfect quarterback. But I
Yeah.
would love to see him in Pittsburgh.